controversy over Nigeria's new tax laws has taken a dramatic turn. The Minority Caucus in the House of Representatives is demanding that the federal government suspends implementation, citing allegations of unlawful alterations to the versions signed into law by President Bola Tinubu. The reform, scheduled to begin on January 1st, 2026, are billed as the most sweeping overhaul of Nigeria's tax system in decades, promising relief for workers and small businesses. But opposition lawmakers insist the laws as gazetted differ from what was passed by the National Assembly, raising fears of illegality and attacks on legislative independence. With the government insisting the reforms will go ahead and Parliament vowing to investigate, the dispute has sparked fresh questions about transparency, governance, and the credibility of Nigeria's fiscal policy. Will the tax reforms deliver relief or deepen mistrust in the nation's democracy? Well, joining me to discuss this now is, of course, Elvis Akpobi is the Executive Director, Not Too Young to Lead Initiative. He joins virtually from Delta State. Thank you for your time.
Compliments of this season.
Compliments to you, to Elvis. This tax bill, which of course has started garnering not just reactions, but conversations across board, with many Nigerians starting to ask questions about how their monies, will be deducted in the name of tax and maybe what it will be used for and value and all of that. But there seems to be a bottleneck right now. Some members in the House are saying, look, what was assented to us and what was presented is different, and there is now, will I call it crossroads. The presidency, the executive is saying, we'll go ahead to implement anyway, but the House is saying we need to investigate these discrepancies. What do you make of this?
It's quite unfortunate that a handful of those who've contracted governance to their votes, people should inspire the next generation of leaders finding this web of mistrust. And I believe that to make progress as a country, we need to build trust. If lawmakers, people who are making policies for us, they don't trust themselves, how do you expect the common citizens to trust the people who are making these policies? Fine, I think as a privileged individual, I've traveled to other countries and I pay taxes, I've paid tourist tax and all that. But one thing I notice is Nigerians don't have problems with you taxing them. Nigerians have problem with let them see value for the tax you're giving to them. Yes, that's what I've noticed. If you give us, let me use example of the prepaid electricity bill. People have been doing that, but do people have steady power supply? The answer is no. So if me, I won't, maybe because of my exposure, I won't go against taxing, but let the common citizens see value for the tax they're paying, as we see in other countries. Then for the lawmakers, sometimes power seems to intoxicate, despite a handful of people forget that it's transient. A time will come, people will ask questions. We're good at the moment now, for my generation, we're pointing fingers that we have bad leaders and all that. And sometimes I engage my friends and I tell them that in your little space, what are you doing? But because that will reflect what you become when you become a lawmaker and all that. I don't know how we are practicing our democracy, mostly with the legislators. What they're doing, their legislative character is not inspiring. But I hope they sit down when all the lights are off in their room. They sit down and ask themselves some questions. If this is Nigeria, they want to live for their children. For me, I have no other country aside Nigeria. Definitely.
One thing you have tried to establish is taxes and then value, concurrent value. But I'll come back to you. Let me bring into the conversation Bamidele Ayemibo. Is the lead consultant at 3T Impex Consulting He joins virtually from Abuja. Thank you for your time, Mr. Ayemibo. Now, I would also throw the same question to you too. It appears the executive and the legislative arm are, at different variants as regards the implementation of the new tax, will I call it, bill right now, which of course is meant to take place on January 1st, as in lieu of discrepancies highlighted by the legislative arm. For you as a Nigerian, how does this hit you?
The challenge in our country is that we politicize everything. We sometimes, even when the issue are genuine, sometimes we bring a lot of sentiment in that doesn't make us to think straight and take the right decision in the best interest of the country. Like the last speaker said, the real issue is Nigeria does not want to pay more to government because the one the government have is not using it judiciously. Bottom line. However, on this issue, I don't think they should stop everything because there are 4 bills in one. It's not just one. So the one that is affected can go by National Assembly to harmonize, make the necessary correction if they need to. I mean, since the president has signed, it's just to correct what is being gazetted. So I don't think that should be the basis for us stopping going ahead because there's so many other things involved. There's so many other. The area affected can be put on pause while the other area continue. The other bill continue so that we don't put, because the government is relying on this. I mean, the budget that presented, the government is relying on this for revenue. So if you are now putting it on pause, so how does the government get its revenues? I don't think it should be paused. I think the government also should come clean. The real issue, like I said, just like the last speaker said, and many Nigerians have said, look, if we can see the impact of the tax, we pay. The real issue is this is being stolen from oil receipt. It's being stolen. Now people are going to be paying more from their sweat. And it's also, there's no direct effort or assurance of the government on what will be done to people who are going to be stealing the sweat of Nigeria. I think the reason Nigeria kept quiet all along because majority of them are not paying tax. Like those in corporate organizations.
So do you think, sorry, just to butt in here, do you think that if Nigerians start paying, these taxes and, they begin to feel the impact, do you think that will make them more responsive to governance?
I think so because if you...
Because some will say that Nigerians are used to adjusting.
In this case, the beauty of the bill is that it's pro-poor. So those in the lower rung of the ladder are not going to be paying much. The real issue in Nigeria is the middle class. The middle class is too quiet. The middle class have more voice than the lower class because of the room they can be in, because of the relationship and network they have, to not even protest on the field, but put in the right pressure, lobbying where it's necessary to be able to get things done. And the middle class are really being affected right now. So I think if the people are now paying more, most likely, we are going to become we're going to be calling the government to be accountable for what they are collecting from the people if this money is being wasted. I mean, look at what is said that Malami has amassed, within how many years. So people are saying, look, there are many other people that have that kind of assets that the government can use to generate fund, that they should go after them. They should go after them to be able to. So I think it's just the issue. The fact that we need to be able to show the people how the government is going to deal with any individual that is going to be stealing the sweat of Nigerians.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. We'll go on our final break. When we return, we're taking our final thoughts on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ, and I still have my guest with me. Elvis, before we wrap up, in 30 seconds, there are a lot of apprehension as much as there is anticipation ahead of this tax, new tax reform. But I just want to ask you in 30 seconds, do you have concerns? 30 seconds.
As an average Nigerian, I have concern because I always tell people, if we're not creating a better society, if we feel privileged, immediately we are not safe. I tell people, if you're digging your grave, if you're not providing a better opportunity for the people around you, if they're not comfortable, you won't be comfortable. So for me, whatever the government is doing, tax or what have you, always bear in mind that you can come out there now. Bear in mind that we can get it right. And to make progress, we need to build trust. I want to believe that President Bola Tinubu-led administration means well for Nigeria. And like the other speaker said, when people start paying and investing on tax, they will start being apprehensive and they will call out government.
All right, thank you very much. How about you, Mr. Ayemibo?
Yes.
30 seconds, please.
I am apprehensive. I know Nigeria for who we are. People take advantage of every opportunity. It's good that some of the things have been clarified about the fact that the FRS now, Nigerian Revenue Service, can just decide to be the judge and be the accuser and be the judge. You know, at least that has been cleared. It will be good for all other issues to be cleared, for us to be clear on the procedures of such that even if I have issue with what you're telling me, I can appeal what's the process, and just to be able to ensure it's clear. I think they're doing a lot in that regard, but it's also important, and I'll emphasize it again, the government have to ensure that the people concerned are addressed. And for one reason or the other, that has not been agreed. I don't know why the government is silent about it. Maybe because the presidency cannot... I don't know why. I mean, there seems to be a silence about this concern that Nigeria are having. I have concern also. I hope this concern are addressed.
All right, gentlemen, I'd like to say a big thank you for your time on the program. Bamidele Ayemibo is the lead consultant, 3-team Impex Consulting, joining virtually from Abuja. And also Elvis Akpobi, the executive director, Not Young to Lead Initiative, joining from Delta State. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Well,
Thank you for... Bye-bye.
Right.